Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, y'all, let me give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. This video is for educational purposes only. Let me say that first. But if you could, y'all, please like, share, comment, subscribe because we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. So we are looking at Tesla. And as you can see, y'all, we closed at 326.09. We've made a pre-market high of 336.44. Y'all see, we knew we could possibly have trouble in this area. So where are the trouble places for Tesla? As of now, support is around this 333.77, which is the 5 EMA, above the 5 EMA. So back to the upside, we need to break 336.16 again here at 337.33. Breaking that brings us back to 338.36. If we break that level, we could possibly have trouble. 340.12 again, 340.85, 341.18. 341.60. Those are possible rejection areas for Tesla, and I do that often. So 341.60, if we break that level, 341.60, there we are. If we break that level, 342.15, and we should break that somewhere around 342.76. Now, breaking at 342.76 area, we can come back to 343.25, and again here at 344.29 and possibly have trouble. Now, back to the downside. Let's say by chance we break under this level here, of 332.58, we can come back to around 331.39, find support, losing that 330.92, and again here at 329.42. Should we break that level, 328.35, and y'all see the ATR trailing stop is really close to a level that I have marked here, 337.32. So breaking that brings us back to where this 50 EMA is and a previous gathering spot here. Let's say that. So this level could be strong support for Tesla, not financial advice. 325.36. Breaking that brings us back to 324.52. Now, breaking at 324.52 brings us back to this zone here that we traded in. So we could very well find support around 323.55 and breaking that 322.84. Now, if we break that 322.84, we could very well come back to 320.30 and again here at 317.93, not far from the 200 EMA on the 30-minute chart as of now. Keep in mind, Tesla does what Tesla does, right? So if you're trading Tesla today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside, and y'all know, so I say so often, not financial advice, right? So we are now looking at the SPY. We closed at 603.08, and as you can see, pre-market high 606.40. We got rejected kind of close to an area that we kind of knew we could possibly have trouble, right? We're back down in this area. 603.93 is holding us up now. Let's see if I can make that 603.93, which is this line here. I had 603.93. We are right at that place. I like to see those, y'all. Not to point out, I'm just good at certain things. No, I want you to see that it's really important to mark your levels of support and resistance. So that's my only reason for saying that. So where are the trouble places for the SPY today? We would need to get back above, let's say this area, 604.65. We could possibly have trouble. 604.94, 605.37. Again at 605.54, breaking that 606.01, 606.20, and again here at 606.54, breaking that 606.80, and again here at 607. So if you're trading SPY today, those are possible rejection areas. Now, if we break the 607.27, we could possibly have trouble again. 607.52, 607.91, 608.45. Those are rejection areas as of right now for the SPY. Now back to the downside, we could very well come back and find support. Now, if we break this level of 603.82, we can come back to 603.57. 603.26 will kind of put us under the 5 EMA as of now. If we break that 603.26, we can come back to 602.98. And as you can see, we were in this area here before. So we're at that 602.98 down to the 602.74. We could find support. There's a few layers here. Now, if we break that, we can come back to 602.49. 127.39, and breaking that brings us back to around 602.19. Breaking that brings us back to 601.77. Should we break that level, we could very well come back to the 601.44. So if you are trading the SPY today, those are possible areas to the upside and to the downside. Now, breaking the 601.44 or 40 area, we can come back to around the 601.28, 601.12, and breaking that, it looks like the ATR trailing stop is forming around that $600.98 as of now. Breaking that brings us back to the $600.38, and again here at $600.14. I remember that $600.14 from yesterday, so we definitely need to watch the SPY if that is something that you trade today. Again, I say, y'all, not financial advice. In this market, I say often, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. So we are now looking at NVDA, and then we closed at 143.96. As you can see, is it giving us a double top on this 30-minute chart as of now, even though this candle has not closed, right? So that's something we need to watch and be mindful of. Where are the trouble places for NVIDIA? We broke out of a gathering spot. We see that here. We came up, found support. Here, moved back to the upside, broke through resistance, broke through resistance, broke through resistance, had a little trouble right here, right? So we need to remember that. That is a trouble place for us. So back to the upside. We would need to break back above 145.27 and make a new high. We could possibly have trouble at 145.39, 145.80. Again, if we lose the break through the 145.80, 146.27, 146.49, and again here at 146.89. Breaking that brings us back to the 147.36. Should we break that area, 148.10, breaking that brings us back to 148.66. Those are possible rejection areas for NVIDIA as of now. Now back to the downside, under 144.65, we could very well come back to the 144.17, breaking that 144 even. You can see here that was a resistance. It's now a support for us right here. That 144.14, breaking under that brings us back to around the 143.46. I just want to point out right here where price is gathering in this area here. So we definitely need to watch the 143.76. Again, not financial advice. Under that, we could find support 143.63, which is where the ATR trailing stop. The 50 EMA in this line, we just have marked here at 143.63. In my opinion, this is going to be a strong area of support for NVIDIA, in my opinion. Now, back to continuing to the downside, if we break this level 143.63, we could very well come back to 143.32. The ATR trailing stop is forming now around the 143.12 area, and if we should break that area, we could very well come back to the 142.90. Breaking that 142.90, we can come back to around 142.57, and breaking that brings us back to where the 200 EMA is and a previous line that we have marked, which is very, very close. Again, y'all, I just like to see that 142.44 is going to be a strong area of support, in my opinion, for NVIDIA. Again, not financial advice. So if NVIDIA is something that you trade today, y'all know I say so often, trade carefully, because in this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. So we are now looking at AMD. We closed at 123.24. It too has been trading in a gathering spot in this little zone right here. So where are the trouble places? For some reason, something has stopped us around this 124.60. You'll see we have 124.47 marked right now. That is the rejection area. There were some sellers in this area here. Need to be mindful of that. So continuing to the upside, we could possibly have trouble 124.94, 125.69. If we break that 125.69, we could possibly have trouble 126.67, but there's something that could stop us out here. So definitely be careful in that area. Breaking that brings us back to 127.37, 128.01, and if we break the 128.01 area, we could possibly make it, have trouble around the 129.24 area. Keep in mind, there's something that that can stop us out right here for AMD. Now back to the downside. Let's say we break under this level of where we have been consolidating, or the gathering spot, as I like to say, which is kind of like where that 50 EMA is and this ATR trail and stop that's forming, and another line here. So the 122.90 is going to be a strong support in my opinion. Now if we break this level of support, we can find support again, 122.64, 122.34, 122.19, 121.73, breaking that, 121.46, 121.12, again here at 120.91 and 120.68, breaking that 120.68 for AMD. We could very well come back to this 200 EMA around the 120.26. So if that is something that you trade today, AMD, I say trade carefully, y'all. Mark your levels, and once it goes against your Y, get out. Live to trade another day, right? We are looking at Meta, and it kind of looks like AMD, right? So where are the trouble places? Looks like this area of 703.51 is support. We got rejected at 706.31. I had the level of 705.50. So back to the upside, 705.50 could be a rejection area for us. I'm going to mark this 706.39. Something stopped us in this area. Now, if we should continue to the upside, there's still a few places that we can get stopped out at for Meta. So from 706.48 to the 711.27, we could very well get stopped out, and y'all see Meta is just moving to the upside. So where are the trouble places? Let's look to the downside. So under 703.51, we can come back to 702.47, $700.99. Under that brings us back to around 699.51. Under that brings us back to 698.27. Breaking that brings us back to around 696.94. Breaking that level, 695.25, and breaking that 694.21. Now should we lose this area of support, I'm going to use the 200 EMA at 693.46. Breaking that brings us back to 692.34, which is in this area here. So if Meta is something that you trade today, I say trade carefully. I say so often, y'all, in this market anything is possible, nothing is guaranteed. So these are some of the things that I see when I look at the market, y'all. There's so many different ways to trade the market, and what's challenging at times is trying to figure out what strategy works best for you and for us to have the discipline to execute that plan. So make sure you have a plan, make sure you set your stop losses, and make sure you stay focused to your support and your resistance. Again, I say so often, not financial advice, but I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very, very productive day today. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. We learn and we grow together. So until next time, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others.